bar that closed yesterday with an inside bar, and we just had a new candle open today, and we're going to likely have a reaction of a pullback before the main bull run starts. So if I go to the 1 hour chart, this is Ethereum. We see that Ethereum has been respecting this trend line while it was forming a pennant, right? So our flagpole of the pennant, this becomes our flagpole, right? So this is our flagpole and this is the pennant, right? So we are likely going to see a breakout to the upside. That's what we're expecting to see, but price is still doing the apex of the pennant, right? So if price, what are the likelihood, the probabilities we have of price breaking down to the downside, right? To this downside, is there any probability of it breaking down to this downside? Well, I am going to explain what I'm saying. The chances are quite low, but we could have a fake out, right? We could have a fake out. The price, you can see that yes, the 55 exponential moving average is just below, right? This is the 55 exponential moving average right here, and at the same time this happened to be a support, right? That's the support that has been holding price as price keeps forming higher lows as it goes up. So obviously we could be seeing this daily open reaction at worst getting to this point, but I doubt if that is going to happen. Why I doubt if that is going to happen is the fact that you can see the 20 exponential moving average is still guiding price, right? It's guiding price up, right? And it's been containing price, and price barely touched this 55 exponential moving average, though we had a close contact in this zone, right? And that close contact is the first touch on the 55 exponential moving average since the breakout from around 750. And one thing about pennant is about this flagpole is that the breakout always take a measured move, right? So when this breakout that is happening right here happens, it's going to take a measured move of exactly the breakout that happened here. So if I bring this my arrow down and try to get a measured move at this move of the Ethereum, right? So we have this measured move, right, to the upside. So if I take this measured move, that is our flagpole, right? So if I take it and I place it to the breakout side, right? So we're likely going to be expecting a measured move. So you see Ethereum could be targeting around 1,500, right? At minimum 1,400 to 1,450. That is what I'm seeing on Ethereum right now. So there's a lot of potentiality on Ethereum. Like I said, if the sell pressure continues, right, we could see a pullback, and that will only be as a reaction to BTC dumping. So we could see a pullback from Ethereum, and that pullback would be ending at worst at 10 cents, right? $1,010, right? $110 around this zone, right? So we see this support, line here, right? Because if I go to my daily, you find out that this is the zone that the last high that Ethereum broke on the daily, right? So you can see the last high in this zone, right? This is the last highest high, right? So I made a video, if you watch my last video about Ethereum versus BTC, I talk about the famous triple bottom, right? And I said that this triple bottom is likely going to lead to Ethereum making an all-time high, right? We could be seeing a new all-time high, like we'll be seeing something like this, right? Bitcoin already made that same move, right? So we could be seeing breakout on this side, and that's exactly a target move, right? So the last all-time high is around that 1,450 zone, so we could be seeing that 1,450 again to 1,450 500 on the long run, right? I'm talking about before March, right? Because we could see some reaction in the market around March, right? That's what we could be seeing, some reaction in the market around that March. We're seeing some dumping happening, but currently for this first quarter, beginning of the year, the pump is just getting started. So we see more pump from Ethereum. That's what I'm seeing in Ethereum. If I go closer to a lower time frame for the sake of those who are scalping, if I go closer, now mind you, this is a Bitcoin future, this is Ethereum futures, so this is high leverage trading chart that I'm here analyzing right now. So my trade, I mostly take them by 1.125x on Binance. I trade on Binance. So if you look closely, you see that price is respecting this trend line, and price is very close to that trend line as well. So we see that we had countless touches on the trend line here, another one here, another one here, right? And it tried to break out, but this is more like a fake out. As the daily candle open, reaction pushed price down, so price has to look for a better, stronger support to bounce us, sort of. And the better support is finding right now is the 55 exponential moving average. That's the support that is finding. Now mind you, the 55 exponential moving average is a long-term, more like a mid-term trading indicator. So seeing it holding up the support in this zone is not strange, right? And if I turn on my 200 exponential moving average, to give it color blue. Alright, so if I turn on my 200 exponential moving average, I explained something about this particular support that we're having here. The price is respecting on Ethereum, right? So you see this support right here acted as a resistance, it had acted as a support. There was a breakthrough here, but it instantly pulled back up. There's another support here, another support here, and another support. So we see this this support line here as a very strong support. Now there's a backup that price will not easily fall through this 1000 zone. Do you know why I said so? Because if you look at our 200 exponential moving average, which is a long-term trading indicator, you see that it is still pointing upward, right? You see it is still it's still clearly showing us that price is on the upside, right? Got back the indicator. So if you look closely, like I said, you see that the 200 exponential moving average has not been touched, right? Now mind you, except here, right, you can see that it caught that pullback, and that's exactly where the 200 exponential moving average is when the pullback happened, and it was caught by the pullback. And as you can see that after that, price did not show any sign of weakness, as price kept moving upward, right? You see these higher lows taking place, right? Like I showed you here, I said this is higher low, this is another higher low, and another higher low, telling you that the trend is still very bullish. And one thing about sideways movement you must know is that this is accumulation going on. This is accumulation. What I'm saying, Ethereum right now is a huge accumulation going on, this sideways move, meaning that we could see a breakout that is likely going to be huge, right? It's going to be a breakout to the upside. Now I know that Ethereum and BTC kind of walk like hand in hand, best friend kind of thing, but sometimes one has to overpower the other, and sometimes one have to be on the sitting position like BTC did few days ago when Ethereum was pumping. So you can see that somehow, even though BTC has influence on all these other altcoins, sometimes they break out, right? Because you see traders trying to accumulate more BTC, so they ended up switching to Ethereum or buying some Ethereum, leading to more volume on Ethereum, while BTC it's still on the sideways. That was what happened in the last poll that we had here, all the way to 1,150 zone. So that was what happened to Ethereum right there. But the trend is still bullish, and me, I am buying every pullback. That's the truth. I'll be buying every pullback. So we could have this coming back to touch this support, right? We could have it coming to touch this support, but currently it is on the 55 exponential moving average, which happens to be a good support as well, because the 55 exponential moving average is likely going to hold it. This is 15 minutes chart, and I said this is for those who are scalping, and that's why I'm doing this particular analysis, for the sake of those who are scalping. So you should likely know that you can likely enter your trade here, right, and place your stop loss just right here, right? So in terms of target, long term, because I see potentials, a lot of potentials in Ethereum. I see 1,500, to be honest with you. That's what I'm seeing from this point, 1,500. So if we look again at BTC, so let's compare BTC current situation and Ethereum to see what is likely going to happen if BTC dump, how it's going to likely affect Ethereum, right? Or if BTC pump from here, how it is also likely going to affect Ethereum. So this is our BTC chart, and it looks way different, right? And as you can see, it's also it's still respecting the bullish trend, right? No matter the pullback, BTC is still bullish, and I'm about to show you why I said so. So let's get our exponential moving average, 200 exponential moving average, because I will use that to actually look at the long term of BTC. So I'll be looking at the daily chart, the weekly chart, and probably the 1 hour on BTC, so that we can compare what we saw on BTC with Ethereum, BTC. So this is our 200 exponential moving average. So if I go to the daily chart on BTC, it gets really interesting, right? So we see this man pointing to the top side. What am I calling it? This coin pointing to the upside non-stop. It's just moving up like the fuel is burning. BTC is not even looking back, because you can see the daily chart now. If I turn off all this indicator, let's just look at the bars and see what the bars is telling us, right? So what we're seeing in this situation is, you can see the 20 exponential moving average is clearly guiding price, right? You see it's clearly guiding price, but there's still some sort of gap. There's still a gap, right? There's still a gap between the 20 exponential moving average and price, right? So you can see that clear gap, that it has not yet touched the 20 exponential moving average, and the 20 exponential moving average is still hovering around the 28k. That's one thing to keep at the back of your mind, right? So we see that price broke out in this point, right? Price broke out here, right? Price broke out here, right? And since price broke out, we've not had a retest, right? So that's I'm talking about the last all-time high, the 20k. But the good thing is that our 200 exponential moving average, which is used for long term, is still showing us that even in probably a month from now, we're still going to see bull trend on the run. Like the first quarter of 2021 is going to be serious bull run. Like I'm seeing at least 37k this month, right? This month to next month, 37k is going to be a hit by Bitcoin. It will be sooner than you think. That's another thing, because right now it's trying to break out from this sideways move, right? So you can see some sort of pause, right? And after this pause, what we're going to have is a measured move, right? So if I go to the 4 hours chart, you're going to see what I mean. Now it's a bit more noisy. So we see price broke out this trend line, right? So let me just take off everything and redraw it so that it will make more sense to us, right? So I'm going to delete everything and draw all the trend lines, right, to be easier. Okay, trend lines need to go off. Let's just delete all drawings, right? Okay, we have a clean chart, Bitcoin 4 hours chart. So we're going to try to draw the trend lines and see where all this is going, because this looks like a double top. It looks like a double top, but the question is it a double top? Well, we're going to find out. So first of all, let's draw the trend to show us that where the trend is going. I said delete. Okay, so we have our first trend line, right? So first thing we want to connect is we want to connect from this breakout. So we had a clear breakout here. So if I get my box, we're going to see that there was a sideways movement that would be contained in a box, telling you that there was no much price movement around this zone, right? This is the 4 hours chart. So we had a breakout here. So our trend line is going to start from here, right? So we're going to try to connect the highs, right? So we have 2 clear touches on the high of the trend line, like here and here, right? This becomes our resistance trend line, right? So this becomes our resistance trend line. Now we're going to draw our support, right? We're going to try to form a channel, right? We're going to follow to make this very obvious. I'm going to turn off the EMS so that you're going to see what I'm doing. So you can see we have our channel, right? This is a clear wedge channel. Why is it called a wedge? It's a wedge because as the channel goes, it expands, right? A channel is a price action that is made up of 2 trend lines. The upper trend line is the resistance. It shows you where resistance is, right? The lower trend line is the support. So we are likely going to be taking our trade whenever we're likely going to be entering a buy when price come to the downside of this support, and probably looking out to take some profit at the top of this range, right? So if you look at it, you see that our next hit on the top side is likely going to be around 27,500, right? Now the good thing about a channel is it can be broken, right? It can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. Why can it be a good thing? It can be broken to the upside this way, or it can break to the downside this way, right? So whenever a channel breaks to the downside, it's likely going to come out and test the beginning of the channel, which is around this zone, right? Come back to retest our box. So when Bitcoin is going to dump, we'll be expecting Bitcoin to go back to 19k, right? That's a huge support, which happened also to be the all-time high, right, on BTC. So if any big dump is going to happen, we're going to see that if that breaks, we'll be heading down to 17k. But that is not what I am seeing right now. That could be later, not right now. What I'm feeling right now is that we could be seeing more upside from here than downside. So Why do I say so? So if I turn on my indicator, like I said, you see that price is clearly respecting the 20 exponential moving average and the 55 exponential moving average, telling you that price has not even come close to this 200 exponential moving average, right? And 200 exponential moving average is just above our box, right? It's just right above our box. So it is likely that price is showing that the bullish trend is still on, as long as this 200 exponential moving average is pointing to the upside, right? It's clearly pointing to the upside. Even the 20 exponential moving average is also clearly pointing to the upside. Now if I come closer with our drawing and we try to draw this pullback, right? Let's connect the highs of the pullback, right? So I'm going to try to connect the highs of the pullback, right? So we see that there was some sort of breakout happening right here, right? On BTC, right? We see some sort of breakout going. So if I also try to join this low, right? Because I have two clean higher lows happening here, right? This higher lows is enough to show me that trend is beginning to change back to the upside, and it's beginning to leave this sideways move to the upside. That's what the market structure is clearly showing me right now, right? So if I go to lower time frame, like 1 hour, we're going to understand what I mean, right? So you can see our drawing, right? This is our drawing. You can see that price made the first touch right here. Price made the first touch right here. It made the second touch right here, and we're likely going to have the third touch around here, right? That's around the 21,900 or so. So we're likely going to have at worst pullback, price pulling back here and making this move, right? This is what I expect. This is the move I'm likely going to be seeing on BTC, right? So if that happens to BTC, it also tells you that Ethereum is likely going to join the party. So meaning that Ethereum breaking out is very close by. So any moment from now, it's going to move, right? We're going to see a move, and you know how Ethereum runs. It's going to be like a big run, right? So right now it's still on the sideways movement. It tried to break out here, but this is the first touch, second touch, and the third touch. So obviously on the fourth move, or on the fourth attempt, is likely going to break this upper trend line like BTC did right here, right? BTC touched the first time, right here, right? There was a first touch. There was a first touch here. There was a very close touch here, right? But didn't touch, but there was a close touch. So, and another one here, right? So this is clearly a reaction before it even hits the trend line. So we had 3 touch, and on the 4th touch it broke through the trend line, right? So that's exactly what we could be seeing happening on Ethereum very soon, right? But if Bitcoin is pulling back, Ethereum is also likely going to be struggling to break out with the pullback of Bitcoin. So it's likely going to hold it for a while, and if Bitcoin pullback becomes too strong, it's going to come and test this particular zone, this particular support. So the next coin I want to really take the time to analyze is another coin that is likely going to make a very bullish move this early 2021, and it's no other coin that I'm talking about than I'm talking about LTC, right? I'm talking about Litcoin, right? Just like Ethereum, Litcoin is just about to begin the work, right? Ethereum has started the work. Litcoin is just getting started, right? So if you've not bought Bitcoin, I think this is a great time to start buying some Bitcoin, because we have good potentials, right? So if you look at this coin, this chart is so clean, like the chart is so clean and crystal of where things are going from here. It's so crystal where things are going from here. Because if I look at Ethereum had the same. Don't mind all this spectrum. It's just to delete them. So as you can see, we have a very similar pattern, right, called the W pattern, right? The W pattern is something like this, right? It is also known as the double bottom, right? So if I turn off this, did you see that the double bottom is very obvious? You can see the W shape, right? This is the same shape that BTC had. Did you see it? This is the same shape, and you can see the run that resulted from that same shape, right? So you can see this W pattern, right? This is the same, but this is triple bottom in BTC. The same triple bottom is in Ethereum, right? So we're going to likely see Ethereum run all the way up. Now back to LTC. Why I say LTC is going to play the same game that BTC and Ethereum is playing, and it is just getting started. Like, you are early to the game, you are not late. Why I say you are not late is because from this point you could be seeing Ethereum targeting $300. You could be seeing Litcoin targeting $300. This is the neckline of our double bottom, right? This is the W bottom. This is the neckline, right? Two, you can see the reaction. It's just breaking out. If I zoom close by and I zoom in closely, you can see that it is struggling to break the neckline, right? So you see the crossover is very close by, meaning that any moment from now is going to be exploding with green bars like Ethereum and BTC did. So if you look closely, we can see a breakout trying to happen, right? It has already broken out, but it is retesting, and it's likely going to come back to retest this trend line that is respecting right here, right? So we have a trend line that price is respecting here. So we had the first touch here, and we had another touch right here. We had a touch here, and we have another touch here, giving us bullish trend line. So if worst case scenario, we could see it coming back to retrace this box, to retest the box it broke out from. You could see, let me get this box straight. So I had to move the box up because this is the bottom of the box, and you have this clear resistance here and here before the breakout took. So we could see price coming back to at least $138 or so. At worst, we could have 122, 122 retest, and after that, I expect price to go sideways for a while and break out to the upside, right? In terms of Litcoin, so we have good potentials. You are likely to double your money in this Litcoin. Great, wonderful potentials that the future has for Litcoin. So with that being said, I'm also going to look at, I'll be looking at Link, and this is a potential coin that has made a move late 2020 to approximately $20. It was a wonderful one, right? Link made a wonderful move. So we had this move that it made here. We go to the daily chart. So we had this move right here, right, where it made a new high of $20 before there was a pullback to come to retest the 20 and the 200 exponential moving average. You can see price is clearly respecting the 200 exponential moving average, and here is the reason why I say we're about to see another all-time high, right? So remember the double bottom we just discussed on Ethereum and BTC. Now that is exactly what is forming right here, right? So we're going to get something like this. That's what we're going to get. Double bottom, right? Because you're already seeing the first touch on the support, and there's another touch on the support, giving you two touches with almost approximately the same height, which is the W double bottom signal, right? So we're going to likely see Litcoin running all the way up. Now mind you, this analysis is a long-term analysis, not a short-term, right? It's going to guide you if you're scalping, to help you with your scalping, but this is a long-term. I'm talking about a month or two run, right? So if you're able to buy some and hold in some of these coins I'm recommending right now, you're likely going to see double your profit over 100% before March ends, right? And see some reaction in March. Before then, before March comes, right, we could be seeing this move happening, right? So the thing is this about Link is that we're going to likely see a reaction. That's why you see this box. It shows area of resistance. You can also see the reaction that took place here. Area of resistance displaying itself. So you see that price broke down, broke this trend line that was going down like this, right? So price has broken through the trend line. That's what you see. So, but I expect a kind of retest and then before we start moving, right? Let me try to connect that with my trend line so that you should be very clear of what we're doing. So if you look closely, you're going to see what I'm seeing. So we have the first touch here, right? When price has been on the pullback, because after the pump to the 20k, which is here, to the $20, which is here, Link has been on the downside, like more of sideways than the down, because it's still bullish. It's still keeping and respecting that bullish trend, right? Because it didn't break below, I do mean price broke below this breakout point. This is my breakout point, because if I take a box, I love my box so much. Like, this is my best trading strategy. This box, best trading strategy. It just helped me know when a breakout is coming, like beforehand. So you see that in this box, we see resistance right here. You see we had a resistance right here. We had another resistance, another one just before the breakout took place. So that's why you have that box. That's why I drew it, because of the area of resistance. So you see that price did not come to cross that area of resistance, right, which would have served as support, but instead it found another support, which happens to also be a past support, like this particular support right here, right? That's why I drew this line. It came here and price successfully was halted by the 200 exponential movement. That's respect. That's a strong respect. It's the big man of the whole moving average. So big respect for 200 exponential moving average. It held price, and price came back to retest to see if it's going to find enough buyer in the same support, right? And yes, it found buyer, and it even made a higher low, because you can see that this low is just a little bit away from this low, right? So it made a higher low, showing you change in market structure, right? Because before now, price was making lower lows, right? You see this lower low right here, another lower low right here, before this one right here. So price after moving up, making higher lows and come back for a retest, and in the retest made another higher low, it shows that this double bottom is going to likely play out, right? So if I come closer to 4 hours chart, it's going to get really interesting. Now our drawing is making the chart look very noisy. Let's take away these drawings so we can have a more cleaner charts. Yes, right. If you've not subscribed, make sure that you subscribe. It's the only way you can support me and encourage me to come and do more video analysis like this. If you've not followed us, you're going to get notification anytime I go live. You'll be the first to get notification. All you need to do is just subscribe so that you can stay ahead, right? So if I put this, the reason why you have this middle yellow line is because you can see the sideways, right? Trend is not clear, but this particular zone seems to have this accumulation going on, right? It's like a special zone for accumulation. That is, you see pre-breakout tension, right? So price is trying everything to hit and break this resistance, right? So when we, like I said, this is our touch. I want to map it out so that we know what we are looking at, right? So we have these 3 touches on the upside, right? Showing you a clear resistance, showing you that price has attempted to break this resistance 3 times and failed woefully. It failed badly. So right now, price on the 4th attempt, I like 4th attempts. It's always when you see a resistance being hit countless times, just know that that resistance will be broken. When you see a support being hit countlessly, it's going to break down, because the more hit, the weaker it becomes. That's a good way to know where the pressure is. If you're in a market where it's sideways and you're trying to find or determine where the pressure is, in this market you make money by determining which among the bulls and the bear who is winning, right? And you join the winning team. So when you see countless times when a support or resistance is hit, just expect the fact that over time it is going to break, especially in sideways movement. So in this situation, we see that price on the downside is really making higher lows, telling you that sellers are not even enjoying their shorts, right? It means sellers are getting squeezed on link. That's exactly what is happening right here. The same thing is happening on BTC. At this particular point, sellers are getting shorting BTC at the current zone. Sellers are getting rejected. That's what we see played out here, right? This short was rejected, and you can see the wick of the candle is long, telling you there was a buy power in this zone. So the same thing is likely happening to Link right now, right? So there is a buy power that is stopping price from coming down to make lower highs, right? So keeping that in the back of your mind, keeping that at the back of our mind, I'm going to turn off all drawings, so you can see that the chart now is looking noisy, untradable, quite sideways. Even if you're shorting, you're not enjoying your short. Even if you're buying, you're not enjoying your buy, because if you enter the trade here, let's say you enter the trade here, you would have been stopped out here, right? So, and if you enter the trade here, it went up and it came back, you would have been stopped out here. Same thing here, you enter the trade here, you would have been stopped out. So price is likely going on the sideways, and if I turn back my drawing, you understand now why I have this yellow line, because it helps me show me where that zone is where I need to stay away from the market, because there won't be much profit in the market as a result of the sideways movement. So waiting for a breakout would have been the best option, which happened right here, right? We had a fake out here, right? Which was instantly retracted back, right? You can see the reaction of the fake out. The pullback was sharp. That's what happens when you have a fake out. If the price breaks to the upside faintly, pulls back instantly, with reaction. Every action has a reaction. So in this situation, it's not the case, right? So you can see that price broke out, came back, tested, and was caught by 200 exponential. Now let's turn off this. So we look closely, we're going to see something quite very interesting, right? So this is our resistance, right? Based on past this zone, this is our this is our resistance, right? So we have it here, right here. This is on 4 hours. I could move further, and you can see it was acting as a support before it got broken through. So we have here and here as well. here. So price not only broke out from the down sloping trend, right, but instead price has broken the trend line that is sloping down, as well as the one that is horizontal, telling you that the breakout is likely going to hold, and Link should be seeing $17 anytime soon. In fact, I am seeing it at January. Link is likely going to click that $17 before you know it. And now my point is that is for the mid-term trading. In terms of long-term, I'm looking at Link making at least 23k to 24k. That is what I'm seeing on Link right now. That's exactly what I'm seeing on Link. So 37,500 on BTC is very likely from here. So this sideways breakout any moment from now is going to happen. Going to have a breakout. So like I said, we have a clear resistance here, and price could pull back to get a support around this 32,300. Something like this. There's another support right here on the 55 exponential moving average. We're buying right now. Get a better entry. Just right here. So we could have something like this happening. So you can see that price is respecting this trend line on 15 minutes. So we'll have the next touch here. If you've not subscribed, do subscribe so that you don't miss any notification. So what we're seeing is reaction to this resistance. That's what we're seeing right here, this sideways move. Ethereum is holding up. You can see Ethereum is still holding up, and it's very close to our trend line. So you can see this is on support right now. It's on 55 exponential moving average support. So I am expecting the move to start here, right? It's going to likely, if trying to find its way out like this. At worst, we get a test of this 200 exponential moving average that is just on the right here, right? And I doubt if that is going to happen because volume is likely going to start picking up. So we're going to be looking at the volume. Of the peanut. This is the point where bulls and bears are having serious fight on who is going to win, right? The bulls want price to break this trend line, and the bears want price to break this trend line. And you can see all the way from here the battle has been on. Bears will push down, the bulls will push up, the bears will push down. So, but once the apex is closed, you can see the tight move, right? Tight struggle between the bears and the bulls. This is where the pressure is building up. This is like a pre-breakout tension building up, right? So now that we have our drawing, let's jump right to the next coin while we still wait for this breakout to take place. So this is BCH, right? BCH look also very interesting as I see good pump coming to BCH, right? BCH has successfully, unlike Litcoin is the only coin right now that I'm saying that it has not made the move that other coins have made, right? So if you look at this, our W shape again, you can see that most of these coins have this W shape formation that is leading to them pumping, right? The same shape that BTC had, right? That is what they are all having here. So you can see more like an inverse head and shoulder clean out here, right? So if I zoom in, I'm going to see what I mean. Now an inverse head and shoulder is a situation whereby you have the left shoulder, this is the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder, right? So you can see the distance and the separation from each other. The volume as well shows the difference, right? So in our left shoulder we have lesser volume, right? The bars are really small. Why the head is forming, yeah, there was not much volume, and then there was sideways, but you can see the breakout of the right shoulder, the bars are beginning to increase, right? You see the volume is beginning to increase, and the neckline was broken right here. The neckline broke right here. This is where the neckline broke, right? You can see the reaction. here too. When price came to retest, there was a breakout and there was a retest, right? There was a breakout and there was a retest. And after the retest, there was another clear breakout to the upside. That's what BCH is showing us. And if you look closely, we know that for a measured move, if I go to 4 hours, you're going to get the measured move I'm talking about. Now I can actually draw my box here, right? So you see this can be contained in a box, right? So you see this sideways movement, right? They had a breakout. There was a breakout. Broke. It tried to break the first time. This is a strong neckline, right? I told you this is our neckline. This is a strong resistance. You can see the reaction of this particular resistance. So when it got here, it made the first attempt, it failed, right? It made the second attempt, failed, right? And this is the third attempt. Let's take this as our first attempt on this support. This is the first attempt because it touched it, right? This is our first attempt. This is our second attempt. This is our third attempt, and the fourth attempt we broke that strong resistance. See why I love 3 touches, right? I love seeing at least 2 touches before I take a trade. I want to see price hitting support 2 times, right? It comes back, it hit this support the first time, then it pulls up, then come back to retest if it's going to find buyers on the support, right? This is the same thing that happened here. Exactly the same thing that happened here, right? Price came down, hit the support, pulled up, came back to retest if it's going to find support. Now, this market has a funny way of repeating things. That's one thing you must remember. This market has a funny ways of repeating the same thing to make sure that, and to get confirmation before it moves ahead, right? So when it came to retest this low, it found support, but you see, traders, buyers want to confirm that there are other buyers in this support who are interested in buying this particular position. So what happened is that when sellers again pushed again, after price moved and tested the 55 exponential moving average, the sellers pushed down, and buyers again who didn't buy this first touch, who are mostly conservative traders who like confirmation before they buy, jumped into the trade. And you can see from this point, all we could see is higher lows. Market structure is on the high side, right? So if you enter here, it's all the upside move that you're going to see. So that's the good thing about double touch confirmation, taking trade at confirmed positions. Now in this our situation now, we could see this exponential moving average, this 20 exponential moving average is guiding. We could see it guiding price, right? But at this point, there is a retest, right? And this 200 exponential moving average is just below our resistance, which is now going to act as support. Why do I say so, right? You see, price broke out and came back to test it, but could not break the support. So it became a support here, right? Unlike this particular situation, you see the difference. The difference is that when price came to this resistance here, it broke through it, but it could not continue. There was not enough buyers above the resistance, so price has to come down to find buyers. That's how supply and demand principle works, right? When there is enough supply, demand keeps going down. When there's too much supply, price will go down. When there's too much demand, price will go up. So when price got above the resistance, price could not find buyers. So price had to come down back to the support and found buyers where it instantly pulled up. But like I said, there's always a second touch, and exactly again you can see that happening here, right? This is the first time it tested the support, but it needs to come back to retest the support to make sure that it's going to find buyers. So that what you're seeing here is a retest of that support before price now move up and made a higher low, and this higher low is where the breakout took place on the 4th attempt. So when it broke out, this our failed resistance that failed here became a support, because you can see the breakout was not like a sharp move, right? There was a build up. Here it was a sharp move, here it was a sharp move, but here there's a build up gradually, step by step, it kept moving until it broke that resistance and then sat on the resistance to gain some accumulation that gave it the bull power to pull to the upside. So if I am to have a measured move of this move that we have here that broke out this, you see that if I measure this, it's going to be like an equal move with almost all the other moves that it has taken. So let me change the color to white. So you see that, are you seeing similarity? Are you seeing that there's similarity in the range? There's similarity in the range. Let me use this particular one to do the measurement. So if I take this one, I put it here, I get almost equal move, right? I take this one, if I take this particular and I put it up here, I get equal move. Are you seeing that measured move? Are you seeing that repetition I'm talking about? Price has a way of repeating itself. You just have to look and observe. So if I take this particular arrow and put here again, you see another measured move happening. Are you seeing that? Are you seeing that particular move, right? From this point to this point, you see price making this measured move, right? Since it touched that support. So the resistance is playing out until it got broken. The support was playing as well, and it's still playing, because the support that we're having here is just like we had here and like we had here. So you can see the support is more like this. So you have this support here, you have another support here. You're going to likely now have another support here or here, right? But most instances it's likely going to stop here. If the sell pressure on BTC is high, because BTC, like I said, is going to likely come to retest this point, right? That 32 300 to 32 200 to 33 500 zone, right? That's where the retest is. Let's just say 32k. That point, that zone, that 32k zone is where the retest is. So if our BCH is going to react to Bitcoin, because one thing about this altcoin is they always react when Bitcoin goes crazy. They react. So we could see this BCH coming down to retest this 55 exponential moving average around this 370 zone before moving, right? If sell pressure gets stronger, it will come to 200 exponential moving average. If I try to connect right now what I'm having and try to connect, I want to connect the lows of the BCH. is our trend line, and what we are going to look for in this trend line is at least 2 touches, right? We're going to look for 2 touches. We need 2 points where price is touching the trend line on BCH. So we have it. We have one right here. If I zoom in, I'm going to see it clearly. We need at least minimum of 2 points that touch the trend line, right? So like I said, we have one here and we have another one just right here, right? So it's likely we're going to have price coming to give us a touch right here before moving on. So if I connect my we're trying to connect these 2 highs, right? So we have right here a touch, right here another touch, 2 touches on the upside. So we have one low here, 2 touches on the downside. Now we're going to likely have a pennant, right? So now here's another thing, a scenario that will play out is if the bulls continue with the pressure, this will break out on the lower time frame. I'm talking about the 1 hour here. So if I go to the 1 hour, it really gets interesting. You can see that we also have 2 touches on the trend line on 1 hour, right? And price is respecting this 55 exponential moving average. Like I tell you, it could just stop here and price keep moving, right? Price could just keep going from here, right? Without even coming all the way down to test this low. That's to tell you, depending on the bull pressure we're having right now in the market, the bull pressure continues and volume meets up and Bitcoin does not react, because these altcoins are likely going to react to anything Bitcoin does. So if Bitcoin keep being a good boy, we could see no retest of this 200 exponential movement. Instead, price will be guided out of this sideways movement. Like we're going to see something. We're going to see something like this. Let me go to 15 minutes to explain this so that you see what I mean. So you can see price is being guided. On the 15 minutes, you can see the 200 exponential moving average is actually very close, right? It's actually already touching the 200 on the 15 minutes, right? Lower time frame. So you can see price come back to test the 200 exponential moving average. You can see the 200 exponential moving average is actually on our trend line, pointing exactly where price could turn round. So look at BTC. You can see that BTC is still planning to retest. We're going to be patient with this. Our link. So link is trying to retest right here. I've not analyzed link, so I'm going to take the time right now to analyze link. I'm going to try to connect the lows and the highs and see where trend is going on link. Remember I told you link is going to at least $17 from here. have clear support right here. Come back to this 13.6 zone again on link. Before it takes off. Here's what scenario I'm seeing Bitcoin trying to play out here. If the bull pressure continues, it means that if it keeps making the move it's making, the pullback will halt at 32,900. It will halt there. That's where our 20 exponential moving average is. But let's be open. Ethereum is still on the retest. Okay, it's coming very closer to the trend line. Remember I said if the sell pressure continues on BTC, I told you we could have a retest of this 200 exponential moving average before price move, but I doubt if we're going to do that depending on the pressure. I doubt if we're going to see that. This is actually on the trend line right now as I'm talking. Price has made it very closer to the trend line. Very close. It's very close. So we expect it to react just here. Now this is 5 minutes. Let's go back to 15 minutes. Take note of this 55 exponential moving average. There could be a reaction once price gets to it. So we could see price, if price there are enough buyers at this zone, we could see price turning at this 31,100, 33,100. But if we don't see enough buyers, it could go down to 32. Okay, so So Ethereum made it to our support, our first trend line support. So I'm expecting a reaction from this point. And also you can see the 1 hour, the 20 exponential moving average is currently on the 20 exponential moving average support. Price is currently on the 20 exponential moving average support. We are watching right here for a pull up. If you have any question, feel free to leave it in the comment section. I'll take my time to reply it. And if you need any explanation, I'll also explain and elaborate on whatever you want me to elaborate. And this chart is Bitcoin futures, Ethereum futures, BCH futures, Link futures. All the charts are futures charts. More or less also can be traded on spot, because this is USDT, BTC USDT, so it can also be traded on spot. But leverage, high leverage is the main reason why I'm doing this chart, because of the stop loss position, placing of the stop loss. So you can see that BTC is also respecting an uptrend, right? So you see that it's making higher highs, and we have 3 touches to the high side. So you can see that the trend is no longer, it's shifting from the downside, it's now shifting all the way to the upside. The market structure is changing. So we could be seeing the end of this pullback that started from 34,800, right? Could be the end and the beginning of another bull run. So let's give Ethereum attention. Ethereum seems to have touched our trend line, right? So what's the next plan? Ethereum. Closer view. Eagle eye. As a 5-minute chart. You can start seeing the change in market structure in the 5 minutes chart. As you can see, in the 5 minutes chart, price is just below the 200 exponential moving average, which is more likely going to pull back up above it. So that's what we should be expecting. So I expect price to start pulling up from this particular zone right here. Like I said, worst case scenario, we can get a retest of this 15 minutes 200 support, right? Right here. That's the worst case scenario. So it means that our best odd is that it's going to pull up here, and we're going to retest this upper trend line. For Ethereum. Now there's a really disturbing thing I'm seeing on the weekly, right? On BTC is the fact that BTC has not retested the breakout point, and the 20 exponential moving average is so far. It's still at 19k on the weekly. Meaning at some point we're going to get a retest. But the good thing about the 20 exponential moving average is as price moves up, it moves up with price, right? It moves up with price. If I go to daily, you can see that it's moving with price as price moves, and it's actually guiding price. It's actually guiding price. And this way this chart is looking, BTC is unstoppable. It's unstoppable. But this retest at some point is going to happen. At some point we're going to have a retest, and it could be like a pullback, right? It could be like a sharp drop to come and retest this 20 exponential moving average, because this is like a vacuum, this is like a gap. There is a gap between the 20 exponential moving average and price, and price is quite far, over $10,000 gap between where price is and where this. But it's not going to happen anytime soon, so I'm not expecting it today or tomorrow. It's going to likely take a while, after probably we have this last bull run or so before we have that pullback. So is Ethereum going to break our trend line? That's a question that we can only find out by waiting. Be a very patient trader. You can be very patient when it comes to some entries. What we're looking for right now, what we're looking out for is we want to see a bull bar, right? We want to see probably a bullish bar forming on this trend line. Like, let me give you an instance, like right here, right? We have two clean bar reversal, we have two bar reversal, a rejection of the drop, right? That's where this is what happened on the trend line. It was two bar reversal right here, right? This is a 2-bar reversal on the trend line. That's exactly what we want to see, something like that, or a 3-bar reversal. This is a 3-bar reversal. Now, if you don't know what a 3-bar reversal or a 2-bar reversal, please, I've made a video about it on how to trade it. You can check the link below. I'll leave the link on this stream so that you can watch it and know how to trade it. So in this situation as well, we can see a 3-bar reversal. So this is what we are waiting to see before we can even take any trade, right? It's called confirmation. We're waiting for confirmation. Yes, we know that price is supposed to hit this trend line, but we need confirmation to guarantee that this is going to hold before we enter the trade. So we're already seeing a formation, but we can't tell what it is until the candle closes. So with patience, we're going to get our entry, and once we get our entry, our stop loss, we already know where we want to place our stop loss, because it's going to likely going to be here, right? That's where we're going to place it. If this our 2-bar reversal holds up, that is forming right here, right now, if it holds up like this one's hold up, it means we are good to go. Let's keep a watch on what is forming on that trend line. That will be our key, our entry key. If it breaks, we are safe, because why? We are not in trade. That's the good part of waiting for confirmation before you take a trade. Buying in support is not good enough, because that support can still get broken at any time. This video, this live stream, this analysis is a long-term analysis. So my price prediction you're seeing on this screen is for long-term. It means if you're buying, you have to hold for at least the end of January, right? That is the end of January to beginning of February. That is the target for this price prediction that I'm doing, because most of the analysis is done on higher time frame. BTC is rejecting the dump, right? If buy pressure is strong, it might not come to retest this trend line. So we have to wait to see. What we're seeing here is pre-breakout tension, right? That's what we're seeing here, pre-breakout tension. If it fails, it will happen. What happened here will happen. Come back to this trend line. So if it fails to break out, it's going to come back and test this trend line before moving. if I'm taking this particular entry, because I'm trading high leverage, right? I'm talking about 125x. That's what I trade. I trade the highest level, but I have money management, so don't go trading 125 if you do not have money management plan, right? So I don't use $10,000 to take a trade. No, I don't do that. I use smaller amount of money and huge leverage to take advantage of moves. That's what I do, right? I save the rest of my money in my spot account. Just take some little percentage, move it to my futures, use the highest leverage, and I'm doing that trade. So if I can use $500 with 125x, make huge profit. It's not about risking the money, it's about knowing how to manage the trade, right? So even with little capital and good money management, you can successfully still trade futures and be high. Leveraging is about understanding how to manage a trade position. Don't over position. So if I'm taking this position, I will not be positioning myself. I'm doing 15% But like I say, you can't just jump the gun. You have to wait for confirmation. You can see, you have to patiently wait for this candle to give us signal that the support is holding and we can actually take this trade. So we have the close of our candle and boom, we're going to have our entry, just sniper entry, just right here, right above the high of the 2 candle, right? So our stop loss is going to be right here. That's where our stop loss is going to be. So once price cross above this bar, this upper bar, this one here, right? Right here. Let me get the trend line to make it clear. So you can see. Let me use my box, because if I go to 5 minutes, you're going to see that this box is going to be very interesting in 5 minutes chart. So you can see price is being contained here. So I'm going to take my entry once price move above this box. I'm containing price. Once price breaks above this box, that is above this last bar, means it's entry time. We'll place our stop loss just below the bar, below the box. Below the box, that's where our stop loss is going to be. You can see we give some space to the trend line so that we don't get stop caught. Right, so this is where this trend line stop, and this is where our stop loss is going to be. So we found where our stop loss is. Now we're going to look for entry. Remember, first thing, I know where my stop loss. Boom, we have the box broken. The box is broken, so this is our entry point right here. Go back to 15 minutes. You can see the box is holding up and it has broken the box. So so we are likely being in trade right now. You can see BTC is holding up this position. Let's see if there's actually a trend line BTC is respecting right now. There seems to be one. It's going to be clear on the lower time frame, right? It's going to be for scalping, right? This is it. This is the trend line. This red trend line is being respected by 5 minutes. So it's likely going to keep moving up from here. The pressure is building up. Go back to our Ethereum entry, and our entry was around 1,774, 1,074. Okay. Okay. 1074. Back to BCH. You can see BCH is also on the 200 exponential moving average, right? The buy pressure is high, right? And if the buy pressure is high, they will keep pressurizing this upper trend line for a breakout. Buyers will keep pressurizing this upper trend line to break. So they are going to likely make an attempt until they break it. We see a follow through, right, with this buy, right, with this 2 bar reversal. We have a follow through bar. Shows us that there are buyers interested in buying at this current zone. That's what this follow through bar is showing. Same thing that we had here. Same thing we had here. The same thing happened right here. So it's just about observing. You see that this market is all about repetition. If you've not subscribed, do subscribe, because whenever I'm live like this, I do not just call price prediction. I take the time to show you the drawing, show you every move, and draw the drawing with you. You can ask me questions. I will answer all questions that you ask. Feel free to leave your questions in the comment section, and I will answer every simple question. Thank you for giving me thumbs up. For that is a way to encourage me to come out tomorrow and do more live analysis. So we have Ethereum holding up our entry, Bitcoin also holding up the 20 exponential moving average. So Link is forming a very interesting sideways here, right? Meaning it could likely break to the upside, because you can see it's keep giving us higher lows as it's going, right? So keep that in mind. It could be that our next entry on Link, we could not see this pullback, but there's no volume yet, so there's no confirmation yet on Link. There's no volume because this is looking like more like a double top to me right here, right? So if you see it, you see it's more like a double top here. So it's something to be very careful about the entry on Link. Remember, we're going to have a measured move on Ethereum, a measured move exactly as the flagpole of this pennant that we're having right now. Remember, this formation is called the pennant triangle. It's different from the triangle. The difference is that the pennant takes shorter time to form, while the triangle takes longer time. It takes months, sometimes years, to complete a simple triangle. Why? Is because you see the pennant forms in a short period of time, like 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month. When sideways form like that and have this triangular formation, is called a pennant, especially when it has a flagpole, like right, a pump before that, or a dump before that formation of that sideways. So this is our flagpole, and like I said earlier, our flagpole, to get our next target, is going to be a measured move of our flagpole. So we're going to have our flagpole right now, right here on the apex of the pennant, giving us at least 1,400 to 1,450, but I'm seeing 1,500 on Ethereum incoming. So if you are with me, you should know that right now we are in trade. The analysis gave us the entry here, and our stop loss is to be placed right here, right? This is our stop loss, and we had our entry here. Snipper entry, right? Mind you, we're trading for hours, so we are expecting good move to the upside. $200 exponential, the 20 exponential moving average is still at 984. Alright, on the 4 hours. It's still fair. Now, it is likely going to go up and then come and give us a higher low. That's what we should be expecting, because of the resistance we are having above here. I'm still aware of that resistance is not cleared. Until cleared, we stay cautious. Using 125x to take this particular position. With good money management, we're good to go. So we expect it to pull back, give us a higher low before it starts to join. So we have our 3-bar reversal, right? We got the 3-bar reversal we are hoping to get on the trend line right here. This is our 3-bar reversal on the trend line. I'll wait to see the breakout. BTC is very close to the resistance. That's around 34,500, right? So we see some around 35,600 to 34,600 to 34,700. We see some reaction. But likely once it crosses it, it's going to be a fly. It's going to be a fly, because then it would have completely left this chaotic zone. So Ethereum or BTC, which one do you feel more comfortable trading? I know some people tell me they are not comfortable trading Ethereum because of the crazy volatility that sometimes Ethereum can have crazy moves. But as well as BTC can also have its own times when it runs like wildfire. So which of these coins are you trading right now? Bitcoin, Ethereum, BCH, Litcoin? I would like to know, so leave that for me in the comments section, and I promise you I'll reply. I'll give you a reply. So Ethereum has successfully given us a 3-bar reversal on the trend line. So what we need now is a higher low, right? That's what we need now. To see it clearly, we have to go to the 15 minutes chart. So we're likely going to see price halting around this zone, right? Around here. Around that 1066 or 67 or so. You can see this pullback stopping here before the move on continues. So as you can see that the closer we get to the apex, the more tighter the range becomes, the tighter the range, meaning the more the pressure is building up and could break out any time soon. That's what we're seeing. Unlike when the sideways first started, you can see the stretch. It was easy for you to short, right, and make some good money, but shorting here won't pay you much. Why? Because you can see the constant pressure the bulls are putting on the market, telling you that the bull pressure is growing with time. That's what you're seeing here. That's why you're not seeing huge downward move happening at once like it did in these two occasions, right? Meanwhile, BTC is still reacting. It's very close to this trend, to this resistance. Serious struggle going on between the bulls and the bears here, right? The bulls want to break this resistance right here, right? The same resistance that pushed them down here. They want to break it. The bears are saying no, you have to come down and buy cheaper, right? So there's a real struggle going on here, right in this point, right? So I'm going to bring my box, because my box right is the best way to see who is winning, right? My box loves to show me where the break is going to happen. So if you look at this box, you're going to see something unique, right? You're going to see the fact that the bears are putting more pressure on this pullback than the bulls, right? On the pullback to come and test. So you can see the first touch here. You can see another touch here, right? Remember I said that the countless times the resistance is touched, the more it will break. The countless times its support is hit, the more it will break. So you see that we have something like a support right here in the box, right? The bottom of our box, right? Meanwhile, on the upside, we only have one time touch on the upside. Now, if I could take it down, if I can reconsider my box, if I should reconsider my box, it gets really interesting on the upside, right? Because you now see that price somehow is making countless push. Look at it here. You can see here, here. So if I take this as a fake out, let's take this as a teaser, right? As a teaser, right? It means that the fact that I'm having higher lows already, that price can still follow this trend, right? And guide price out of my box. Hit this resistance, then come back to the testing bottom of this box. Something like that could play out. Now, this is a game of probability, so I'm always open to chances. We're still looking at Ethereum to see how far it's going to pull back. Remember, we have a trend line that BTC is respecting on the lower time frame, right? This particular red trend line is the 5 minutes trend line. That's what it's respecting. That's what we're seeing, that is guiding price out of this box. So we could see it guiding price all the way out of the box. So you can see that this box helps me contain price, right? So if the box breaks to the upside, I know that bulls are actually more buyers in the market. If it breaks to the downside, then I look to buy lower, right? It means I could get cheaper price, and bears are likely going to push price all the way to this point that we're having, this trend line. Like, this is our 15 minutes trend line, mind you. Now, this red trend line is the 5 minutes trend line, and this other one is the 15 minutes. So if I go to my 15 minutes chart, you're going to see how evident it is. You can see that this is the last low that BTC made, and this is how price on the 15 minutes chart is guiding price. We have two good touch on the downside and two good touch on the upside, giving us clear upward movement, right? So we see price moving on this lane up, this way up, right, in a gradual manner. So the trend is not so strong yet. It's still a weak trend. That's why we're seeing this up and down, because it's still weak at this particular point. But once we get a breakout and cross this line, right, we're going to get a run. Once it breaks this line, it's going to run, and it's going to head for this guy right here at 13.5 and at 37,500. That's what the guy is going to head for. But before it does that, it's trying to gather some energy to lead to that run. Now, one thing about this 5 minutes trend line that is red that you're seeing here is that it can easily get broken, because lower time frame easily gets slaughtered than higher time frame. Why? Because it's too noisy, right? It's high frequency trading going on in the lower time frame. So we want to stay probably on the 15 minutes. It's a bit less noisy. Now, depending on your personality and your trading pattern or your trading plan, or how you like, if you like the hot, the 5 minutes will be good for you. If you like to take it calmly, then the 15 minutes will give you perfect entry. If you're looking for sniper entry, you can still use the 15 minutes as a guide to get a sniper entry. Then use probably the 1 hour or the 4 hours as take profit zone, right? Target, right? So Ethereum, as expected, we are expecting a higher low after touching the trend line. We are expecting it not to break this trend line so that it can make an attempt the fourth time to break this upper trend line, and definitely it's most likely to break it this time around. BTC, on the other hand, is still holding the bulls are still holding the pressure. You can see the bears who are selling are not actually enjoying any sell because there's some sort of squeeze going on at this resistance we are seeing here. If the bulls fail to push above this resistance, we will see the retest of this lower trend line. Else, we could see this 5 minutes guide bulls, this 5 minutes trend line, this red one, this one is the 15 minutes. This red trend line is going to guide price out of this resistance. You can see price is still respecting it, so it's going to guide price out of the resistance. But the 5 minutes trend line is a weak trend line, meaning it can easily get broken. Stronger support lies at the 200 exponential moving average as well as the trend line right here, because you can see the 200 exponential moving average is also right on the trend line. So back to Ethereum, we were expecting a higher low on the 5 minutes chart. So we got our higher low. So you can see that we're having the higher low forming right now. So likely it's going to push up to go and attempt this higher resistance right above here. If this higher low succeeds, so we're going to have like an inverse head and shoulder. This will be the right shoulder, this will be the head, and this will be the left shoulder, sorry. This will be the right the head, and this will be our right shoulder. So we could go up and come back, make another higher low and up again, something like this, like this, something like that. Now move sideways and break up, something like that. So that's what we should be expecting. But we're in trade already. And our entry is a Snipper entry right here. This is where our entry was, right here. $10.64 and our stop loss right here. So we have our higher low. This is 5 minute chart, and mind you, we are not trading 5 minutes chart. We're just using it to keep track ahead of time. So we're back to our 15 minutes chart, and it's still looking good. On a 4 hours chart, things are still good. So our target on Ethereum remained 1,450 at least from this breakout. But first, we need to conquer. Ethereum needs to conquer this apex of this peanut. Ethereum needs to conquer this apex because there's a lot of pressure from both the bulls and the bears. That's why we're seeing this congestion taking place right here. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe so that you wouldn't miss the next time or any time that I go live to analyze the cryptocurrency market. Now mind you, this is Bitcoin USDT. So if you're trading crypto futures, this is a perfect analysis for you, because all this analysis is done on USDT. So this is Ethereum USDT chart, and we took our position entry with, I'm taking 125x leverage with good money management. Now don't take this particular leverage if you don't have good management already in place, like you don't have a trading plan. Don't take 125x. It's risky. I have trading plan in place, I have my money management, and I make sure that even the position size is quite fitted to my risk. Because I'm taking 125 does not mean I should over position, because the higher the position, because it's more leverage, it's likely going to affect you with every slightest move. Like every bar that goes against you, the loss is going to double faster, because I'm talking about 125x. So if you're taking 135, so let's say you're taking $500 to trade 125x, that's like $500 times 125x. So you can think about the amount you are actually taking when calculated, so that you know the position size you're taking, so that you don't over position yourself. That's very important in terms of trading futures. Position size, money management, risk management. Don't forget your stop loss. It's very important. Like I said, before I took this position, I first of all determined where my stop loss is even going to be. Like I said, our stop loss is going to be here. Even before we enter the position, we already know where our stop loss and how much we're risking here, and our entry was exactly here. So you can see how tight our stop loss is, right? And the good thing about it is, as price goes, I trail my stop, right? I move my stop with price. I'll make a video on how to trail stop loss to help you know how to break even, and as well as protect your profit against any sudden kind of market movement or price movement, especially when you are trading futures. Protection is the most important aspect of trading futures. BTC needs to conquer our box. So we could have BCH moving sideways and boom to the upside. So breakout is just, all these coins are waiting for breakout. Each of them are at the point of breakout. So now the next thing we're seeing is that on the 5 minutes chart, if I pull closer, we see that price has come back to the 20 and the 20 exponential moving average and the 55 exponential moving average. And on the 15 minutes, it is sitting on the 55 exponential moving average. Good support. That's Ethereum. Obviously, Bitcoin is really facing some challenges breaking this. Real accumulation going on. It could mean two things. It can only mean two things. One, it could mean that the bulls are gathering the strength to break this resistance, and with force they will break out. Or they are finding it difficult to break this resistance and the bears are really pushing, and they will likely come back to retest the 200 exponential moving average right here. If everything goes according to plan, then this 5 minutes trend line is going to guide chart out of this resistance. Meanwhile, Ethereum on the other side is still getting ready to pop out. Ethereum move with Bitcoin as Bitcoin breaks out? That's a good question. The past few days, Ethereum has been having a good time. Bitcoin has been just there, looking. So the question remains, this time around, is Bitcoin going to allow Ethereum blow without it to the moon, or is Bitcoin going to leave Ethereum behind and explode to the upside? That's a very interesting question I would like to know. Tell me what you know. Tell me what you think about this in the comment section. Will Ethereum run along with Bitcoin, or Bitcoin will leave Ethereum behind? Because most times when Bitcoin is pumping, you will likely see Ethereum, unlike most other altcoins, pumping along, at least at some percentage. ADA USDT, that's another coin that I really think will perform very well this early January. This particular coin, ADA, Cardio is one coin that I think is going to really make some good wave. This early 2021. Bears are holding Bitcoin ransom. Bitcoin wants to break out. Like I said, this 5 minutes trend line can easily be broken. It's not so strong. A retest of this 200 exponential moving average will be a more guarantee. And also on the 1 hour, you see that price is currently respecting the 20 exponential moving average. We have 5 minutes to the close of 1 hour's chart. See, Bitcoin could come all the way to 33k. There's a support of 200 exponential moving average on the 1 hour on 33k. That's if it breaks the box. It could just be a stop loss hunt of those who put their stop loss here and it will pull back up, or else it will come to test this lower trend line. See, I'm open to a lot of possibility because of the fact that we are still in a sideways movement, right? So being open, especially when price is trying to break a resistance, it's likely it's going to fail, pull back and try again. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for liking. Do subscribe so that you get notification. If you've not liked, support me with a like. It will encourage me to make more analysis and come live stream. Remember that we said there are two things likely possible in this scenario with Ethereum, right? We still have our 200 exponential moving average hanging right here. So if Bitcoin keeps this retest going all the way to test this lower trend line, then Ethereum is likely going to react along with it and come to retest this particular trend line. This particular around that 1019 to now 1000 zone, you understand, that particular point. But for now, we're still on the apex of the triangle. Litcoin looks like. The retest of the bottom of this box is a short. Now one thing about sideways is it's going to quite move for some time before it breaks up. So guys, I'll be taking a break here. I'll be coming back probably the next 4 to 6 hours to update this video live. Thank you for watching. Good morning.